If there is one town in Nigeria where there is jubilation as we speak this morning, waking up to today's business day, is Dapchi in Yobe State. That corridor along Nigeria's northeast around, coming down to the central. You see some images there for you, which are library footage. Of course, the report this morning from our correspondent here on Channel confirmed that most of the adopted schoolgirls in Dapchi town of Yobe State has been returned. There is jubilation over the return of those schoolgirls, and there's been heavy security presence around that town where you've seen some of our library pictures there. Of course, you get free new fresh pictures for you as soon as we get them. Of course, our correspondent spoke with one of the girls and the parents. 5 of the girls, unfortunately, reportedly died while in captivity, while one of them is still being held by the insurgents. The Dapchi girls have been returned barely 24 hours after Amnesty International accused the Nigerian army of failing to react quickly to prevent the abduction of the girls in the first instance. And there you have the breaking news. These are old pictures or library footage of Dapchi town. Of what, of course, those trauma they were going through in the aftermath. Those pictures were taken in the aftermath of the abduction. Now we're going to have fresh images for you as soon as we get them from Dapchi in Yobe State. But report says there's jubilation, and some of those weary faces will be a lot of smiles and tears of joy as we expect. Let's get back to the business of making cement. Big one, Nigeria's biggest company by market cap, or what we call capitalization. That is the number of shares multiplied by the current share price. That's how you arrive at market cap. Very simple arithmetic. I think I got that right. Okay, so that's Dangote Cement. Group revenue, 805 billion naira, up 31% for the full year 2017. Net profit up by 43%. EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, depreciation and amortization, was close to 400 billion. That's about half. That's about 51%. I beg your pardon. To the north, sales volume was about 1.9 million metric tons. That's slightly down, while the company's declaring a final dividend of 10 naira 50 kobo and earnings per share for the company, not for the group, 14 naira 94 kobo. We have a lot to chew about. Well, the Nigerian unit and the non-Nigerian unit are pacing out in this cement company that you heard earlier, supplying cement, not just across Africa, all the way from Ethiopia to Kenya to Zambia, Tanzania, and all the way down to Cameroon and even the Congo. Nearly 20 African countries doing the biggest trade in cement on the continent. Eromosele Aziba is from Afrinvest. He's one of the investment analysts. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
When Dangote Cement, like some of the big banks report earnings, you guys, all of us fawn over it. Because the guy who's got the big deep pocket anyway. So you can't do without Dangote because you don't have to buy cement. Of course, you have to use the bridge or roads made with Dangote Cement. So this is a bit of an advertorial for the company, if you ask me. So these numbers look good, right?
Yes, I mean, they're largely positive, which isn't coming as a surprise. So you had their gross revenue up about 31%, recording about 805 billion in revenue, and even trickling down to their EBITDA, we saw quite impressive numbers. Profitability-wise, growth of about 43% thereabout to record a profit of about 204 billion. So the results have actually been largely positive, largely impressive, although profitability came in, the PAT that the company recorded came in a bit lower than had been earlier forecast, and this was largely due to the higher taxes that we saw in the result. But upon further clarification from the company during the
earnings call,
yes,
during
the earnings call, they stated that the increased taxes that we're seeing here is largely just a provision while they're working on getting pioneer status details agreements for some of their production lines. We know with the Obajana and Ibese, they had about 2 production lines that were still eligible to pioneer status, pioneer status, which would lead them to exemption from some taxes.
Yes, when you build a facility like that, of course, Obajana had since expired as far as that goes, but you keep adding lines to it.
Yes, so each of the lines gets the pioneer status on it, and for about 2 of the lines in Ibese, you have the 3 year. So for pioneer tax status, you have 3 years, then you can get an extension of 2 additional years. So they're currently working on getting the extension for 2 additional years. Well, they have 2 lines that haven't even benefited from taking over from
at all. I'm sure Boko will also. I'm not too sure if Boko falls under that. If the work being done in Boko will fall under the pioneer tax. So the net profit that fell behind some estimates, including Bloomberg consensus, was due to this tax issue.
Essentially, well, it was largely due to that, and from further guidance, like I mentioned, from the company, the process has already been started. The process with getting the pioneer tax status reinstated from the NIPC, Nigerian Investment
Promotion Council. Yes, Commission. Yes.
And the company is largely optimistic that this would be it will be gotten and they will be able to effect it on their books. So as a result of the delay that has been noticed in actually getting the appropriate pioneer status required, the 2016 numbers were also restated for the tax bit, which also affected profitability. But like I mentioned, the company has come out to say they're largely optimistic in terms of getting this pioneer status reinstated, and then the books will be adjusted appropriately.
Accordingly. It's like revising your GDP or whatever. It's like revising your GDP, isn't it?
Well, yes,
something like that.
They're going to restate the results to reflect the current situation.
Yeah, situation. So that's the high point of yesterday's analyst call in Nigeria and around the world by Dangote Cement.
Yes.
That's what you picked from there.
Essentially. And the thing with the results is it came out close to the end of trading, so we haven't seen investors react to it yet. Trading activities